Hey, welcome back to the Pace Podcast, where we're talking about slowing down so that we can catch up with Jesus. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Alex.
And today we're talking all about Sabbath.
Let's do it.
Which I'm really excited to talk about with you because I feel like we've talked about it before and you were like,
I suck at this.
When do we find time to Sabbath? Yeah. But I was in a same situation in college because your schedule is so, like, it's not very, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
The only thing that's constant is your class schedule.
Yeah.
But then there's like a whole bunch of extracurriculars.
And so it's not like you're just working a 9 to 5 or something where, you know, like your day off every week is the same and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I see why it's harder in college, but I do think it's something that is important to start practicing. But I was curious, like when you hear the phrase trusting God with your rest, like how does that sit with you? Because we know that Sabbath is about resting.
Yeah.
So when we have to trust God with our rest, like does that make you feel anxious thinking about like resting? Like what is it about Sabbath that feels so hard as like a college student?
Yeah, I think about Sabbath. Sabbath's all about spending time with God and doing things that fulfill you.
Yeah.
Because when you're not having a Sabbath, what you're doing is you're working or doing things that either providing for the bills or doing tasks that needs to be done. But when you're doing Sabbath, you're saying, hey, I'm going to trust God, knowing that the world is still constantly moving, but I'm going to just sit back, relax, and do something that's going to build me up. Mm-hmm. Because what's hard for me is when you take a Sabbath, you're saying, I'm just going to be still, and I will rather work. I will rather make money. I will rather do things that I got to do. But there's something just so special and there's something so important about being able to take a Sabbath, because when you think about it, there was 7 days that Jesus created the world. That God created the world. Day 1 through day 6, he did all these amazing things. Mm-hmm. But God, on the 7th day, he didn't take a Sabbath because he wanted to rest. Mm-hmm. He didn't take a Sabbath because he was tired, but he took a Sabbath because he wanted to glorify in the creation that was just made and enjoy it and be in that moment. And I think it's so important to take a Sabbath because Jesus was like a prime example of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you feel like resting is something that you kind of have to fight to do? Because you're saying like you would rather work and make money and like kind of be busy. So you kind of have to go against what you want to do to rest and take Sabbath. And I feel like eventually it does become something that you want to do. Yeah. You know, like
because you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, like I really look forward to my Sabbath, and I'm really thankful that that's something that I get to have, you know? So I do think it's something that at first you're like, I feel unproductive. I feel like this is kind of meaningless, but then eventually you're like, you really crave it, you know? So I don't know if that's encouraging, but you do start to really want it.
Yeah, I think about like when you're doing something you enjoy, you're going to want to do it more and more and more. Mm-hmm. So what does your Sabbath look like?
I'm like really passionate about Sabbath. I think the reason why I love Sabbath so much, it also could just be like my personality type. Like I'm an Enneagram 2. So I think we like to be cozy and like we like to, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'd like to do nothing. Like I like to be at home. I like to be alone. I like to do like cozy habits. I like to bake. I like to read. I like to just kind of be, I have no FOMO at all. Like I like to be just with myself.
But that fulfills you doing those things.
Yeah,
so that's a good thing.
But for me, like my Sabbath practically, the first time anyone told me about Sabbath was in college. And I was like starting to be a leader on campus and like this spiritual life thing. And so they had this like seminar about like, now that you're leading, here's an important thing that should be a part of your spiritual rhythm, and that's Sabbath. And the lady that was speaking said that like, you do things you enjoy with people you enjoy. Because I think the misconception is that it's like you're sitting still or you're like sleeping. Like I think there's there's different sides. Some people are like, oh, so you're just like napping all day. And then some people are like, so you're just sitting still all day. You're reading your Bible all day. But I think I always what I always tell people is come up with like a top 4 of things that you enjoy doing and people you enjoy doing it with. And then you can like, that's your Sabbath. Yeah. So like for me, I like to go on a walk. I always like to see a friend. Like my last Sabbath, I had people over to my apartment and like got pizza and we just kind of sat outside and caught up. Like that is important to me. Like, that's awesome. You know, community. A lot of, exercise will be it for a lot of people. I don't like to exercise, but I mean, I like a walk. Yeah. And then obviously like extended time in your Bible. And my Sabbath is the day that I do the most like listening to the Lord, I would say. But it is something you kind of have to like train your spirit to want to do at
Yeah.
first. But yeah, and then it's like I really love a new recipe, like trying a new recipe. So like that's the day I'll do it because I'm like, there's no time crunch. I'm
Yeah.
slowed down. I don't have an agenda. My calendar is empty.
Yeah.
Like there is no calendar.
That's awesome.
Does that make sense? You're
Yeah.
kind of just like doing what you want to do as you want to do it.
Yeah.
And then of course, like you're napping, you're resting, you're just like enjoying the way that God made you and the way he made the world. And I think the most important part of a Sabbath is to remember that like you are the fullness of who you are without doing anything. So there's no striving, there's no achieving, there's no working, there's no earning. A lot of people that I know do like no spending on their Sabbath, which like I don't do, but I love
That'd be
that.
hard, yeah.
Yeah, like no, yeah, like it's kind of, you know, you're not buying and wanting of things.
Yeah.
I think there's so many ways to go about Sabbath, but I would just like come up with like a top 4, like these are people I love, these are things I love to do with them. And then of course, like you should spend some of your Sabbath alone too.
Can you explain what Sabbath is for the people who are listening and they're like, I don't know
what it is.
what Sabbath
Yeah.
is?
I don't know if I have like the best like one liner about
Yeah.
what Sabbath is, but Sabbath is a
Like-
day. It's supposed to be a whole 24
Yeah.
hours
Yeah.
where you don't work, you don't do chores, and you just delight in the Lord.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
about to bounce off that. So I went to Israel and
Mm-hmm.
in high school, my senior year. And when I went to Israel, the Sabbath in Jerusalem, it was crazy because we're in Israel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when we're in the city of Jerusalem, we're going to our hotel, and then all you see is like a whole bunch of stores just closing
Yeah.
their windows, and they had like these special shields
Mm.
that like these gates that protected the windows from like people breaking into them.
Yeah.
But it was weird because all the lights went off, and then we're like, what the
You're
heck
like,
is
it's the middle
going
of the
on?
day.
So it was like a
Yeah.
Friday evening. You're like, people are going
Oh,
to be out.
interesting.
So Friday
Yeah.
evening, everything gets shut off because they call it like Shabbat, which is
Yeah.
like meaning of like dwelling in the Lord.
Uh-huh.
But what their Shabbat is, Friday evening they're out, and then
Yeah.
until Saturday
Sunday.
evening,
Okay.
Saturday evening, that's when everything opens up again. So
Yeah.
from that Friday to that Saturday evening, everything is closed. There was
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like a very few stores really open, but it was crazy because in Jerusalem they take their Sabbath so seriously, and I think it's
Yeah.
important. But also to bounce off that, the Sabbath really came from the people in Israel when they were under Egypt's command, Pharaoh, and God's people, they had a Sabbath, but the people who were held in bondage and captive, God gave them a day of rest, and that's where it like really comes from, because it showed them just because you were in bondage does not mean, because they worked every day because they were slaves to Pharaoh. They worked every day, and then when they were set free, the Sabbath became so important because it gave them a day of rest.
Yeah.
And just like in Genesis, it like correlates, because on the seventh day, what did God do? He rested in his presence. He rested in the creation, the goodness of God. So when I think of Sabbath as well, when you think about dwelling, I think most people will say, okay, so Sabbath, do I really just got to sit down and read the word every day? But the question I want to ask is, what do we do in our Sabbath?
Yeah. I think Sabbath is not just about rest. I would argue that Sabbath is not as much about rest and being disciplined in that, and it's
Yeah.
more about trust.
Yeah.
I even had a kid in church yesterday like ask me like, well, what is faith? Because like we can't see God. And it like made me think about like obviously that word trust. And it's really hard to explain that to a kid when you're like, you can trust God, we have faith in him. They're like, we can't see him and I don't really hear him either. So I think that's why a Sabbath is more about your trust in God than it is your discipline, because your discipline only gets you so far. And if you're like me, it gets me nowhere. Like I'm the least disciplined person on the planet. And
You are disciplined. Don't say that.
no, I
You're
don't like that part of me, but I have no discipline. Like I don't hold on to good habits very long. So it's more about my trust and I think Sabbath is like a big act of surrender. Like it's literally saying like, God, I'm going to remember today that you're in control, not me. And I think I've said this a couple times in other episodes, but after my Sabbath is over, it's like I wake up and I still have my job. I still have my finances are fine. My friends are fine. The world did not fall apart because I wasn't on social media. Like everything is fine. And I just got to delight in who God made me and feel close to the one that made me. And then I woke up the next day and he held it all together. Like it didn't fall apart because I wasn't in it.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that people in our generation have forgotten. Like we really do sometimes think that we are the ones keeping it all together and keeping it all going. And that if we take a step back, things fall apart, but we're really not that important. And none of us are really that good at things that like we're the ones holding it all together. And so the reason why I started practicing a Sabbath is because I really thought that I was like I had this like anxiety that if I stopped doing things, my life would fall apart. But then I would spend a whole 24 hours not doing anything. And then I was actually even like better. Like I woke up that other day being like, I actually feel more like who I am when I got rest from those things that I was striving and like trying to complete, if that makes sense.
I think a lot of people struggle with, like they struggle more and more, and it gets heavier and heavier, like the weight of that anxiety on their life, the weight of feeling like I gotta strive for that job, or the world's not gonna keep moving if I'm not doing my part in the world. And then when you rest and you have your Sabbath and you do the things that you enjoy, and you spend that hour quality time with the Lord, and you're just dwelling in his presence, you're dwelling in, hey, I'm gonna go bake, hey, I'm gonna go try this new recipe. And then the next day you're like, wow, I really just did that. I really just feel lighter. I really feel the anxiety gone. I feel like it's getting less because I wasn't just striving about what I got to do in work.
Yeah, and I think it's not like a magical fix, you know? Like, I still have some Sabbaths where I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, and that's why I think it's okay to not have like crazy rules around your Sabbath. Like, I really just I would encourage people to just try it for like a morning. And just go through that morning as you want to go through it. And I think what's hard for me is that like my calendar is always very organized. Like I have to have calendar invites to do things. I need to know ahead of time to do things. And so when I look at my Fridays, which is when I take my Sabbath, on my calendar, there's like nothing on it. And that gives me a lot of anxiety because I want to wake up in the morning and plan things out. And I always feel like I'm running out of time. But when I wake up on my Sabbath, it's like, maybe I'm going to go for a walk. Maybe I'm going to buy a coffee. Maybe I'm going to do this. Maybe I'm going to sit outside and read. But maybe I'm not. Like, maybe I'm going to watch an episode of a show that I like. Like, I don't really know what it entails. I just know that I'm not going to be in a hurry and feel like I have to earn anything. You know?
I think people think Sabbath, like when they hear the word Sabbath, they say, oh, I just got to read my Bible and all day and worship God and just submit myself to him 24/7 the whole time. But I love about Sabbath is like you're doing things that don't drain you. You're doing things that you like to do. So if you like doing chores on your Sabbath, I think that's okay, as long as it's not putting a drain on you. Because what a Sabbath is supposed to make you feel more at peace. But then as well, you should be having that time while you're dwelling with God and just spending time in his presence.
Yeah, I think what I hear from people most of the time when they don't take a Sabbath is like, oh, I don't have time. And my recommendation, and like obviously this is hard, and I will say like I'm not like the busiest person on the planet. I keep my life pretty simple. Like that's good for me. Like I don't do much at once because I know what I can handle and like what my capacity is, like mental health wise. But I think if you just like looked at your calendar 3 months ahead and just planned one day, even if it was like every other week, like if you put it in your calendar, I'm sure that you will honor that time. Like, I think what happens is people kind of wait till last minute to decide they're going to do a Sabbath. And then it's like, well, of course you can't do it. Because you do have to prepare for your Sabbath. Like, I kind of call it like putting my house to bed. So like on Thursday night, it's like I put my house to bed. Like my dishes are done. My laundry is done, my dishwasher's empty, so that when I wake up on my Sabbath, it's like those chores are already to the side. Or like I'm maybe on Thursday night, I'm working a little later so that I can like wrap up something for work so that when I wake up on Friday, it's not going to be like glooming over me that I have work to do. So like you kind of have to like put your life away. Like kind of like put it in a little box, I guess.
Put my house to bed. I like that.
I put my house to bed. So when I wake up, it's like I'm in my Sabbath mode, you know, like my rest mode, because I don't want to do chores on my Sabbath, you know? So I do think there comes preparation, which means that like Thursday, maybe you have to like get up earlier or stay at work later or whatever it is so that you can have that full 24 hours like the next day. Like whatever day you choose, the night before has to be very purposeful. And I think if you wait till last minute, you're like realistically not going to have time to do it because life is not just going to stop. You have to make the Sabbath more of a priority than all the things that would get in the way of it. You know?
When you think about hearing from God, and when I think about hearing from God, I think about when people Sabbath, when people take a day of Sabbathing, when people take a day of resting in that Sabbath, you hear from God more, because it's just like fasting. When
Mm-hmm.
you're fasting, you're denying your flesh, and the Lord speaks to you. And with Sabbath, when you're reading your Bible, the Lord's speaking to you, but
Mm-hmm.
as well as He speaks to you when you realize, like, man, I've been so busy,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to make a new recipe, I feel at peace, and God is like,
Mm-hmm.
dwell in me, and I will give you that comfort. So when you think about young people, and you think about how a lot of young people just struggle with taking a day just to
Mm-hmm.
have for themselves, because you become so busy. And even with adults, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have time to take a Sabbath. You're like, I always got to be doing something. But can you talk to those people who, or maybe they don't hear from God, and how could Sabbath help them hear from God while being intentional in their Sabbath?
I think the tension with Sabbath is that people don't like to leave things unfinished.
Yeah.
Like, but we always are leaving something unfinished. But I think it's kind of like that. Like, I can't leave my like I can't leave my to-do list unfinished. So there's that tension. It's like, well, I just can't,
Yeah.
because I have these things that need to be finished. Um, and when it comes to like hearing from God, I do think that this is very like person to person. You know, I see that there probably is going to be some positives in your like prayer life. There will be. Like, if you're going to practice a whole 24 hours with him and not trusting him more than you're trusting your own abilities to finish things and do
Yeah.
things, of course you're gonna grow closer to him and become more like him and hear from him more clearly. Like, those things, I believe that there is fruit that comes from these things, and I think he honors that time. But I don't know if I can put like there's no time limit on it. Like, I still have some Sabbaths where I'm like, did I Sabbath or did I just do what I want? Like,
Mm.
it's not going to be perfect,
Yeah.
but I do think that God honors that time that we give to him, whether it's a full 24 hours or it's, a morning. Like, when I first started doing Sabbath, I started with just a Friday morning, because I was like, I can't not,
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
So I
awesome.
like just started with a Friday morning, but then I grew to like really love the fact that I get like this break for free.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's such a cool thing that God gives us, and we are begging for rest, but I'm like, he's literally saying like, you can have a whole 24
That's
hours of it,
crazy. That's good.
And so I think I don't know, I'm like so grateful for it,
Yeah.
because I'm like, I love to rest and I love to like do my hobby. Like, I'm a hobbies person.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I love to do those things and rest and feel connected to him and just be more slowed down. And it's like, he's literally saying like, you can have this. Like, I did this too.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, I really want some rest. It's like, well, you actually like could have a whole 24 hours of that, And then as you do it more, I think it becomes just more restful
I
and
have
more
it.
easy. Like, the first time you do it, I'm sure you're going to be like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you think, I think about Boulevard, here at Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
They give full, like, if you're a
Yeah.
staff
We
here,
have a
they're like,
mandatory
hey,
staff
you gotta,
Sabbath.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on Fridays, where you have
Mm-hmm.
a mandatory staff on Fridays, where they're like, hey, it's important that you don't work. It's important that you take this time
Mm-hmm.
to do things that you enjoy, that you love, to dwell in the goodness of God, the creation that He has made in
Yeah.
this world. Why do you think Pastor Ben and the board
Mm-hmm.
makes that time
Yeah.
and say, hey, it's important to take a Sabbath
Mm-hmm.
on this Friday?
Yeah, I think obviously I've never worked in a job that's not ministry, but working in ministry, it's like, it's very all encompassing of your life. Like, you really don't, it's really hard to turn it off, because it's like the people, like, they're real
Yeah.
relationships, So it's like, you're not just going to not see people from your job on the weekend because it's your day off.
Yeah.
Like, people's lives keep happening. People's kids keep needing things. People need prayer. Like, life is still happening, and so much of ministry is relationships. So I think it's just really important to guard your time. Like, because what we're doing is all really good stuff. Like, you could hang out with your youth kids every day and be making a huge impact and really doing good things. No one could look at you and be like, that's bad that you're
Yeah.
doing that. But it's important to guard your time, because it could become the only thing that you focus on. And doing a lot of things for God is not why he made you. Like, he didn't make you to do a lot of things for him. Like, he created us to work. That's an important part of our relationship with him. But he didn't make you to do. Like, he made you just to be. So it's just important to guard your time, I think. And
Yeah.
it really is, like, practically as a boss, like, it's a really good choice to make.
It is.
Like, to make your people have to rest and not be able to, like, check their email or come into the office. Like, obviously we could, but like, it's pretty set in stone. Like, you don't do that on a Friday. And I think that it's just a really good choice. Like
Yeah.
it's a really good way to create a healthy boundary.
I think about the word burnout. You ever heard that?
Have I ever? Just kidding.
Have you experienced that?
I don't know if I have experienced. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm so burnt out, but I don't know how you know if you're experiencing burnout. I've been thinking about this the last couple weeks because I went on vacation and I was like, am I burnt out? Or is this just like normal having a job? Like I was talking to my mom and she was like, that's just having a job. Like you do the same thing every day. And I was like, oh, so maybe it's just being an adult.
How long have you
Yeah.
been working at Boulevard?
Almost 4 years, I think.
4 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got hired when I was like 21, like you.
And you've been here for 4 years?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So there's hope for you.
Man, you wow. You might need to take a sabbatical.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Yeah, but when I think about burnout, I think one of the questions you should ask someone, when was the last time you've taken a Sabbath? Or even if they're not Christian, when was the last time you've taken a day just for yourself? Because when you say you're burnt out, you're saying, hey, I'm working so much. And every time I come to this job, at the end of the day, I'm just dreadful of coming to the job. I'm dreadful of doing the tasks that I got to do. And I used to love it, but now it just brings a weight onto my life. And I think about how Sabbath is so important because if all you're constantly doing is working and working and you're doing it over and over and you don't take a day just to rest or a day just for Sabbath, then you're just going to get burnt out.
Yeah.
And a burnout is a real thing. And it's hard once you get burnt out because once you get burnt out, to get out of that. But I think Sabbath is so important because it allows you just to dwell in God's presence, but as well, dwell with your family.
Yeah.
To dwell in everything that you're doing, maybe dwelling in a coffee shop.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I love my job so much more because I practice Sabbath.
Yeah.
And I love my friends more and I love my family more and I just delight in my life more because I do practice the Sabbath. Like, I'm not as pessimistic as maybe I would be because I am actively and obviously I'm not doing this perfectly, but like you're actively practicing. When I walk away from something, I can trust that God is going to keep the world spinning and keep everything in its place. And it's okay for me to not be carrying it right now. Like, you're literally saying, I trust you more than I trust my ability to like hustle and work and figure things out. And I think that when people are kind of like putting off Sabbath, I wonder if it is kind of like a mindset shift or a change of their heart to be like, is it because you don't think that God is God? Like, is it because you don't think that he's in control? And I think that there could be so many reasons why people don't practice a Sabbath, whether it really, I mean, like some people are like doctors, you know, like some people's jobs are important.
Yeah.
People have like kids to take care of and finances. And like, I'm in a pretty easy spot to take a Sabbath, honestly. Like I live by myself. I have no kids. I'm taking care of just me. It's honestly the easiest now than it ever will be in my life. So I do understand like some people really do have a lot on their plate and they're raising kids or they're like working multiple jobs. And I think that it's just about the heart posture and the change of being like, yes, I'm holding all these things together, working multiple jobs, raising kids, paying bills, taking care of a lot of people emotionally, like whatever it is. But I'm still going to trust that if I stop doing all of this, God would still keep it going exactly how it's supposed to because he's the one that's really in control of it at all.
Yeah.
So we have this false sense of control that makes us not want to Sabbath when it's like, are we really in control of it? Like, no, we're not.
It's all about trusting God. When you think about the fourth commandment in the Bible is honor thy Sabbath. And it's so important that it's not number 10. God put it as 4. And I just think, man, why would we not take the opportunity to be able to do something that we find something fun and something that we get to dwell in God, something that we get to enjoy, hanging out with someone, building back our energy from something that does not drain you.
Yeah. I'm curious if you think this as a college student. Like, do you think that people tie so much of their worth to their productivity? So it's really hard to stop being, like, to not be productive?
Yeah, I think as a young person, you're like, man, I got 4 years of this, but as a young person, I was like, I got to do things so people see me, so I'll be able to get this opportunity. Or maybe because I'm young, if I don't do really good at, I remember in college, first day of school, I was like, man, I need people to see me taking photos and getting good at it because I want the opportunity of maybe I could make 6 figures doing this job with photos. And I remember there were multiple times where like I was grinding and just being put in everything, and then like student congress, and I was being put in. I started joining these clubs, and I think about I was going to every event, and I was like, I need people to be able to see me. I need people to be able to like, oh, I want this kid for my internship. Oh, I want this young man to be able to take my photos. And I just think about how we like. I was putting myself in a place where I needed to be productive in order to get what I want. And there was times where I was just going.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have that time to just take a Sabbath.
Yeah, and I think, the longer that you live like that, the more you really are going to train like your brain and your heart that your worth is in your productivity.
Yeah.
Like you have to actively work against that fleshly desire to do more so that you can have more and be more and all those. Like, you have to actively push against that. And so it honestly has been really freeing for me to be like, yeah, I'm not in control of everything and I'm not great at everything. And maybe I'm average at some things. Maybe I'm just like a normal human. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like, I don't know the word, but I'm not like extraordinary in so many places in my life. Like I'm just following the call that God has for me. And right now it's like teaching kids about Jesus. And he says that I get to take a rest from that. And honestly, like when I'm praying on my Sabbath, I'm always like, taking time to pray for the kids in my ministry because I really need it. Like I don't know how to help them sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I really need God's help. But my Sabbath, like I really do focus on like me and like what I need prayer wise. Cause like it can be so easy to be like, all these people are struggling and I need to pray for them. But like I really make it about me and him on my Sabbath of like, what do I need? Where am I not trusting you? Like reveal the desires of my heart. Like I think that's important to have time where you're just connected to him and you don't have this like checklist of people you have to pray for. It's just like, I want to pray about the things that I need from you and the things that I don't trust you about and like align my will to your will.
Yeah.
You're like, what I want to be what he wants and has for me. And I need time to spend with him to get to that place.
Yeah. What's an encouragement we could give to the people who are listening of, I've never Sabbath before. I don't know how to Sabbath.
Yeah.
I'm new to this. Like, what do I do? What's a small step for me to be able to take this time to dwell in God, to dwell in things that I love? And
Yeah, I would take the 24 hours out of your head because that's really overwhelming.
Yeah.
And not overcomplicate it so much. Like it's totally okay to start with a morning. Is that like technically what a Sabbath is? No. Have I done like a ton of biblical research on Sabbath? No, but I would just take the 24 hours out of your brain for now and just look in your calendar and find like maybe there's 2 hours. And if it can be in the morning, I think that's great because then you're kind of like waking up with like a refreshed brain. I think if it's like in between two like jobs or something, it's kind of like it's going to be a little rushed and weird, but whatever works, But if you can do it like in the morning, just maybe 2 or 3 hours, maybe you do it just until like noon or something. And just pick like maybe 3 or 4 things that make you feel close to the Lord. So hobbies, being outside, going to places you love, obviously quiet time or like worship music should be involved in that. Prayer should be involved in that. And if you need like some accountability, maybe pick one friend and be like, it's my Sabbath and I enjoy spending time with you. So can we go on a walk together? And then maybe on that walk, it's like, let's just talk about how we saw God work in our lives in the last week. I think that is really a cool way to have accountability because you're like, going to talk about Jesus with a friend.
Yeah.
And I think that's helpful for both of you.
Yeah.
But I think the line that I would have running in your head is like, God, I trust you more than my own strengths and my own abilities. So everything I'm doing today is saying, you are in control, I am not, and I'm okay with that. I think we all know that God is in control and we are not, but are we okay with that?
Yeah.
And I think even if you have to start your Sabbath with being like, God, I'm not okay with the fact that you're in control today. Will you help me like get through this next 3 hours? Cause I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like you can tell him like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like having to just rely on you right now. But I think it's crucial because we have to be able to just rely on him because we are so faulty,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a Sabbath is not doing something that drains you. A Sabbath is supposed to be a thing, a place, a time, a situation where it builds you up where it encouraged you, where you
Yeah.
feel fulfilled, where you feel like you got closer with the Lord
Yeah.
and doing things.
I'm curious for you, what do you think would change in your life if Sabbath became a regular practice? Like, because I'm sure some people are hoping for certain things like joy and gratitude. Like, we're hoping for these things. And it's like, do you think that Sabbath could be the place where we find those things?
I think if I could change one thing about it is I feel like I have the mindset of, because the way I grew up, I feel like my mindset's always been like this, where I always got to have money, and
Like,
if there's like a
you need to
certain
provide for yourself. You
if
need to
there's
provide for
not a
yourself.
certain amount of money in my bank account, I'm gonna grind the heck out of my life to be able to do that. So I'm not trusting in God. So when you say, "Hey, Alex, you should take a Sabbath," I'm like, I will rather work and make money
Yeah.
because, and it's always the mindset of like, Alex, you grew up a little bit in poverty, so you're not trusting in God knowing that. But I think about if maybe I just started trusting God with my finances and
Yeah.
just relying on Him, because that's a big thing about me.
Yeah, and I think he would honor that if you took, let's say, a Friday and said,
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to have any work shifts because you work multiple jobs. So
Yeah.
if you, like, really carved, I think he would really honor that. And
Yeah.
there would be a lot of fruit that comes from you saying, like, I'm going to just let this be for you, you know?
I agree.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are probably looking for that too. Like, you're definitely not the only person. I'm a freak about my savings account because it's like scary when you're
Yeah.
a single young person. It's like, I really only have me, you
Yeah.
know? So I need to like,
Like, what happens if my job gets gone?
yeah, like I need to be able to provide for myself.
Yeah.
But I do think there's something so sweet about like God is going to honor that vulnerability of saying, like, I'm really scared to do this, but I'm going to start just with a little bit, you know? Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. That was good. That was very encouraging at the end.
I'm glad.
The vulnerability, especially a part of that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see you next time.
See you next time, guys.